Hey everyone, my name is Ivy. I am a permanent makeup artist and I am the founder of Joyous Artistry in Garden City, Michigan. And this is my first time on camera on my YouTube channel. So without further ado, I just want to jump right in. But this video is going to be for people that are interested in permanent makeup. Maybe you are thinking about taking a class, you're not sure where to start, and you want to get the best value out of the class that you can. So I'm just going to give you, I believe I have 5 or 6 pointers of things to think about when taking your first class. So the first thing, and this is just from my perspective, I've heard other people's experiences, and I want to just share and see if I can help save you some money and some time and hopefully be able to get the best value that you can. All right. So the first thing is you have to do your research. Don't just jump at the first person that you see. Like, I am a very impatient person, and if I have an idea, I just jump right in, which I think is good, but it has its pros and cons. So just do your research. You won't know what you won't know. You won't know what questions that you don't know to ask because this is just a new area. So my suggestions are to follow people on Instagram. Really take a look at their background, like when they're advertising their permanent makeup class, to see what kind of things do you see in their background. Do you see that they have a studio? Do you see that they're kind of setting up a studio or setting up a workspace for their students? Like, really just take a look in the background and just see what you see. It will give you some insight, a little bit of insight into what you could expect in the class. um, think about what kind of style, permanent makeup style, do they have as an artist, and does it appeal to you? So look at their work and see if it registers with you, or you have, if it's something that you really love and you really like their style, what is attractive to you? Second thing, how much of the class is hands on? So in a class that I had, materials were given out before we even started the class, so you could read over everything. And then when we got into class, they went into more in depth, more with the things that were in the classroom materials. And then you were able to ask questions and get more clarity on some of the things that you read. It doesn't mean that if you don't get the materials beforehand that it's not a good class, because I've been in other classes where we've gotten the material inside the class and it's been that same experience where we've gone over everything, not word for word out of the manual, but the manual is there as a resource. So that brings me to my next point, is make sure that they will be giving you some kind of manual, some kind of reference documentation that you can go back and look at after your class is over. Because I am now a year into having a booth myself as a permanent makeup artist, and just past 2 years of when I first took my first permanent makeup class. And every single resource that I have, every single note that I took, I use as a reference. So that brings me to just a small point that I'm going a little bit off script. Make sure you take good notes while you're in class, and make sure that if it's anything, movements of hands on fake skin, movements of hands on actual skin, videotape it all from the best angle that makes sense for you, because you will need it as a reference in the future, because your brain is just not going to hold all of this information after you're out of the class. Okay. Point number 3, will you be able to work on a model from start to finish? I took 3 in-person permanent makeup courses. I felt like my first course, I didn't feel fully confident coming out of that one. So I took a second one, and then I took a third one just because I really liked that person's style and technique. And it was something that I was interested in learning that I saw on that person's Instagram. I do think that it is really beneficial for you to have a model and to be able to work on that model from start to finish and really get a feel of what that experience is, and being able to work on actual skin. So if you do have a model in the course, do you have to pay for the model? Is it at a cost? Will they find a model for you at no cost, or will you need to find your own model? So just try to get a model in whatever case that you can. But you also want to see somebody work on someone as well, just so you can see from their vantage point, and more 10,000 feet away where you're not working on somebody, and to be able to film that process. Number 4, can you do the touch up on your model, and where can you do that touch up? So after you work on your model, given that you do have a model, will you be able to do their touch up in the 6 to 8 week time frame of when they will potentially need to come back? If you are able to do their touch up, can you do it at the facility where you took the class from? Is it at a cost? And if so, find out what the process is to get that schedule. Or is it something that they'll allow you to come back and work on the model without having to pay an additional cost? Let's see here. Just another couple of points I want to bring up is, can you come back for a refresher after the class is over in some kind of time period? Every now and again, people's lives get busy again, and they don't have the time, or they don't make the time to practice. And so they oftentimes might need to come back for a refresher, or you just might want to come back for a refresher because it's just some things that are not clear to you or you can't remember. So find out if that is a possibility, and is it at no cost, or is it somebody that you can come back and shadow? Shadowing is so important, and just being able to see that movement and being able to record it, to watch it back, and being able to ask questions like why they're doing the things that they're doing, or being able to test your knowledge in the process. Next point is there a way for you to get your questions answered after the class is over? That could be a community, maybe like a Facebook community, or do you have access to the instructor? Like, is there a way that over time, during your practice, by the time that you're ready to take on people or models of your own, clients of your own, is there going to be a place where you can come and get your questions answered, or your work critiqued, or just kind of help you prepare mentally, go over everything for that appointment? Is there a safe community that you can do that, to get your work critiqued? Because in some Facebook groups or some groups that you join, everybody is not the nicest if you're just trying to get like legit feedback to be able to help you. So just make sure that you can find a safe community that you would be able to get good, honest critique that would be able to help you move forward. And then the last point that I have is what to expect from yourself after the class. So after the class, you are going to have so much information in your head, but the first thing that you're going to go back and do is you're going to go back and start or continue in practice with your machine to get your shading, to help get your shading better, to improve in your shading. And you are not going to know if you are practicing the right way, if you're doing things right. So you will need to use those videos that you took in class, any notes that you took down, any practice that you did that reminds you of the proper way to shade. And so make sure that you are taking those videos, as I mentioned before. Another thing, let me stop there. More like, you're going to have to practice. Permanent makeup, you just don't get the next day. Practice every single day. And I will say, in the beginning, it was very hard for me to practice and just get that habit going. And then, like I said, not knowing if I'm doing the thing right, or being frustrated when I'm looking at my shading and it's got a zebra effect, or it just does not look good. Does the pressure look too hard? How do I know if the pressure is hard? How do I lighten up the pressure? Things like that. It's just going to be a ton of things that you're going to have challenges with, and rightfully so, because it's a new discipline that you have jumped into. So my suggestion of what I did, I don't know if it'll work for you, but I'm just going to tell you what I did. For me, I sit a TV tray down in front of the TV and I keep all my permanent makeup materials out that I would use to practice there so I can just jump into it at any time. And I would start with like, I think I started with a half an hour, but it seemed like it would take me like 3 hours to do a brow just shading. But take as much time as you have in your schedule to practice, but practice every single day. Every single day, practice. You know what's best for you if you need to take a couple of days off here and there, but really stay in the mindset of practicing every day. And then the other thing that I felt definitely, they tell you to practice, but sometimes it's hard to practice if you don't have anybody to practice on, is the mapping. You learn, depending on the class, you can learn a lot or a little about mapping, but mapping does not come right away. When I first started, the mapping just confused me. Like I knew all the things to do, I would forget steps. The points and the lines when you're trying to do the mapping would be confusing for me. So practice mapping, if that is practicing on paper or whatever way that they teach you in class to practice mapping. Like, do practice your mapping, and you will need to practice just as much the shading. You will have to practice equally with the mapping. And every person is going to be different, which makes it a little bit of a variable or a challenge, because you'll practice mapping and then everybody's just different. But I hope this helps you. Please, if you got this far in the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know what questions you have. I'll be happy to answer in the comments. If you have topics that you want me to talk about, I will definitely look at them for recommendations and see if I have enough information and knowledge to share on that topic. If this was helpful to you, please share it to somebody else, like and subscribe. And again, I hope that this was helpful, because my purpose for this channel is to be of value to people that are looking to learn more about permanent makeup, or new artists that are trying to figure it out, because I'm always trying to figure things out. And if it's something that I can figure out and I think that I can make it easier or quicker for you to figure out or help you save money, that's what I'm going to try to do. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great day. All right. Peace.